Hi guys, I hope you're thriving and practicing radical self-care. I hope you're meditating, prayer group, support group, trauma therapist, narcissistic abuse or life coach. What I'm going to talk to you about today is how to leave a narcissistic relationship. So first of all, it's going to be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And part of that is because you are trauma bonded to these people. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. You have been manipulated, gaslighted, and there's been intermittent reinforcement, love bombing, withholding. And so you are glued to them. Now, my therapist once said to me, intermittent reinforcement is the strongest type of glue or reinforcement that keeps people together, right? And you have been supply for this person. They have probably emotionally, financially, and psychologically drained you. And they require somebody in their circle to abuse and somebody so that they can feel better, stronger, and smarter than, right? So they need somebody to always feel that way. They need to be superior, you're inferior. So you've been in that role for a really long time. They've used love bombing, gaslighting, to a point to where you're so exhausted that you're so depleted that even just leaving the relationship is very difficult. And but what you have to do is you have to have very firm boundaries and keep reminding yourself of what you need to do, and remind yourself that this person is not good for you. They are not good for you. Don't give them one more chance. It takes the average person up to 7 times to leave an abusive relationship. If you leave them, they may try to seduce you back, get you back into the fold so that they can brutally discard you, because everything is about them having the power and like the last word. They may even become violent with you. Some narcissists are absolutely not violent and others are. If the narcissist isn't ready for you to leave yet, which means they haven't secured their new source of supply, then they may plead with you or manipulate you or cry to get you to stay with them. If they have already replaced you with a new source of supply, it's actually going to be easier for you to leave, because by that time, they're totally ready to discard you once they have their new source hooked. And then it's very important when you're going to leave them that you actually don't tell them that you're going to leave them. Don't tell them that you want to end the relationship. This actually seems sort of counterintuitive. It seems sort of dishonest, but if you do this, the toxic person is going to do one of two things. They're either going to start love bombing you, suck you back into the emotional trap through trauma bonding, but then what's going to happen, if that happens, then their behaviors are going to become much more poisonous and damaging and just awful to you, right? And then sometimes what they'll do is they'll just start treating you like that right away. If you threaten to leave, they're going to start abusing you, gaslighting, manipulating, and frantically searching out a new source of supply. Likely they've already been grooming that source for a long time, so it might not be that difficult for them. Make a copy of all of your documents. They're known to take your stuff away. They'll hide your stuff. They'll play mind games with you. If you lose your wallet, this is a true story. You lose your wallet at the grocery store. You think you did. The narcissist goes with you back to the grocery store to look around and try to find your wallet. Meanwhile, the narcissist took your wallet to make photocopies of your cards. That's how crazy these people are. Then the next day you find your wallet in the front lawn. True story. So take photos, take photos of all your documents, right? If you're thinking of leaving, set up your own bank account, put money into that bank account. If there has been any abuse that is documented, file a police report, file a restraining order. You do want to get the system involved if there has been any overt abuse. It's very hard with psychological and emotional because there's plausible deniability, and a lot of times you can't. There's no physical abuse. Talk to your therapist. Tell them what's going on. Talk to your doctor. Tell them what's going on. Have records. Log out of everything. if you leave yourself logged into any of the, be very careful. These people could be put tracking devices on your phone or on your computer. They're very, very common that they do that. They probably know all of your passwords. Do a master reset of all of your passwords, all of your security boundaries. These people will stalk you. They will cyber stalk you. They will try to hack you. They will, often they will put tracking devices on your car, on your phone. I know it sounds crazy, but it's what they do. So yeah, there's a thing called a remote access tracker. If your battery keeps depleting, this is a sign that you might be being tracked. If you log into like your Kindle or whatever, and it says that there was a book last read yesterday on someone else's Mac, then it might mean that you're being tracked. Do not believe their flattery. Narcissists are going to try to use extreme flattery to keep the victim from leaving. The ultimate goal is to create an environment where the target of the abuse feels that they don't have a choice in leaving because the relationship has suddenly become everything they ever wanted. And they're just too worn out and faithful and loyal to a fault to leave. Remember, this person is not, they don't mean any of that. They use flattery to manipulate. They don't mean the things that they're saying to you. It's all a ruse. Reconnect with your friends and family. A lot of times narcissists will try to cut you off from your family and friends. So you may not have seen some of the people who are closest to you for quite a while. If that's the case, reconnect with those people. Sometimes if you're with a neglectful, covert narcissist, they're gone so much that they don't really necessarily care that much. They don't influence whether you spend time with friends and family because they're so profoundly neglectful. They just don't give a shit about the relationship at all, right? And that's the same thing they're going to do with their new source of supply and all their future sources. But make sure you connect with friends and family. And, some of your friends and family, they may have noticed if you were with more of an overt, they may have known that you were in an abusive relationship, and you might have to like swallow a little bit of pride, but to sort of like let them know, hey, this is what's happening. I'm trying to leave. I'm trying to get out of here. Again, this is like breaking an addiction, right? So it takes what it takes. And it sometimes takes multiple tries to get away from these toxic relationships. And this is a good opportunity for you to also cut anyone else out of your life that is narcissistic or toxic. Once you start doing the work on your codependents and you start learning some healthy boundaries and some self-love, you're going to be less likely to have toxic people in your life. You're just not going to allow those people around. People that use covert aggression, people that are passive aggressive, people that gaslight or lie or manipulate or invalidate or put you down, try to make you feel less than, try to act superior to you or super ultra competitive. Those people, you're just going to get them out, just get them out. Like you deserve to be surrounded by people that are loving, kind, honest, ethical, have integrity, are decent, good people that wish you well, that have true bonding and love for you. And narcissists are incapable of bonding, so they're never going to have that for you, whether they be friends or lovers or husbands or wives. So when you left, you actually may be tempted to go back when reality sets in. Our brains are really good at making us remember all the good times and blocking out all the bad after a breakup. Leaving a narcissist is no different. It's not just about leaving, it's making sure that you stay left. Be very aware that all the good times you had with them that made you convinced of the potential were all probably a lie. The problem is nobody is 100% bad, and narcissists are very good at pretending to be good, right? So there is a lot of cognitive dissonance, but the thing is, all that love bombing that they gave you, that whether it was in the form of ski trips, climbing trips, roses, dinners out, verbal compliments, flattery, all of that love bombing, it was one-sided. They didn't feel love for you. So there was no love. You loved them. You loved a fantasy. You loved their mask, right? That they presented and they sent you, which is you're partly culpable for that. Like, fantasy, listening to their words rather than watching their actions. And they're totally culpable for it too, because they sent this representative, they sent a fake person, they sent an ambassador, they sent Mr. or Mrs. Perfect to the relationship. And underneath, they were duplicitous, cheating, lying, gaslighting, manipulating, right? So just remember that all those times you had, even though you may romanticize them, like the narcissist wasn't bonded with you, wasn't bonded with the children. So it really was it was fake. And I know that sucks. It does, but it's just something you need to get into reality and step out of fantasy. Ignore their sob stories. Ignore the "I'm so sorry" and or all of this BS. Ignore them, and that is why it's so important that you block them on everything. Block them on social media. Block them on your phone. Block them on email. Do not have any contact with these people, or they're flying monkeys. Their flying monkeys are going to, whether the flying monkeys know that this person is a toxic manipulator and bad, or if they're unaware and they think they're supporting a nice person. Now, if you're with a covert narcissist, those people are geniuses at conning others. So it could be that the flying monkeys are actually conned. That's possible, right? Either way, block all contact with the flying monkeys. These people are not good for you. They do not validate your true experience of abuse. And that invalidation can be quite difficult. Think of it this way. Nobody would research all of these videos. Nobody would read all these books. Some of us have even made channels and videos. Nobody would do that if they were not telling the truth. Nobody would go to those links to try to heal and try to recover and try to understand what happened to them if they were not the victim of narcissistic abuse. I'm sorry, they just wouldn't. Nobody would put that effort into it. It's people that get out of these relationships and they're so shell-shocked and they feel like they've been hit by the apocalypse. These are the people that are like, what happened? And they're searching. Anytime you're searching on the internet with symptoms that your partner had to figure out what the heck is their deal, that is a red flag. Playing detective in relationships, red flag. Not good. Remind yourself that what it was like in the relationship with them was a roller coaster. There was love bombing and devaluation. There was withholding of sex, withholding of intimacy, withholding of information, withholding of money, withholding of love, withholding of compliments, withholding of time, breadcrumbing, managing your expectations down so you were subsisting on breadcrumbs. Whereas the love bombing stage, where you were their soulmate, they gave you all sorts of time and love and attention. But little by little, like a frog being boiled in water, you begin to realize that this person has no respect for you, no love for you, no bonding with you. They have no self-respect, even though they pretend that they do, they think they do, but underneath it, they have very low self-esteem. This is all about their trauma. I do recognize that narcissists are absolutely acting out of their own trauma. So I do have compassion for them. I really, truly do. The problem is they rarely ever go to therapy, or they rarely ever seek any sort of help. So that makes it very difficult to deal with these people. That's why they probably don't ever, or very rarely ever get, recovery, because they won't seek help, right? They have it all figured out. They don't need help. There's nothing wrong with them. They're perfect. Another thing you can do is throw away all the gifts, all the presents, all the photos, anything that reminds you of that chapter of your life. They are dead to you. Get rid of all of that stuff. And then learn how to ground yourself. Ground yourself when you're having a trauma response. You can do this through meditation, through mindfulness, through yoga. You start to reclaim your life. You can do deep breathing exercises. And then, make a list. This might help you. Make a list of everything that they actually did, because your cognitive dissonance between the reality and fantasy is going to be really difficult for you. So make a list of the negative things that they lied to you, they cheated on you, they gaslighted you, they gaslighted the therapist, they manipulated you, they withheld sex, money, intimacy, whatever they did. It's going to be different for each one, but make the list so you can just realize the truth of how this person treated you and recognize that it is abuse, psychological and emotional. It might not have been verbal or physical, but psychological abuse and neglect is abuse. So just, make that list so that you know what you actually were experiencing. So you get out of the fantasy and into the reality. And whatever you do, do not rush into another relationship. It's so important that you take a solid amount of time off between these relationships, because the chances of you, if you're traumatized and you have complex PTSD from being in a narcissistically abusive relationship and you are out there in the single world and you're dating again, the chances that you're going to be attracted to and you're going to attract another narcissist are so high. So be very careful. Do not date until you are healed. Do not, just be very, very mindful of that. So hope this helps you guys. You are warriors. You can get out of these relationships and have a beautiful, healthy, loving, exceptional life and relationships. Hope you're thriving, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.